A certain disciple of Jesus wanted to know how best he can give his life to Jesus. And he heard the story of a man who has never lost his love for Jesus over the years. And he went to this man for advice. When he met this man and requested this man to teach him how to love Jesus, this man told him a story. He told him that one day he sat with his dog and he was doing something. As he was doing something, all of a sudden, a rabbit from nowhere just ran past the dog. Immediately, the rabbit ran past the dog. The dog just took off in a hot chase after the rabbit. The dog was chasing the rabbit and was barking as it was chasing the rabbit. And then other dogs in the nearby houses and bushes heard their fellow dog barking. And they came out and saw that the dog was chasing something. And they followed suit. And they continued to chase. They climbed mountain, came down, ran through the bush, came down. After a very long while, those other dogs could no longer bear it. They got fed up and tired, and they stopped. But that first dog continued with the pursuit. And then this man ended the story here and told the young man, this is what it means to follow God. The young man was more confused than he came to the man initially. And the young man asked, what is the connection between a dog chasing rabbits and the loving God? I don't understand this thing. When this young man asked this question, the elderly man laughed and then turned to the young man and said, this is a wrong question. That the right question should have been, why did my own dog continue with the chase after all other dogs have stopped? That this should have been the right question. And the man answered, the reason is simple, because my dog saw the rabbit. But other dogs did not see the rabbit. So they came and thought my dog was out for entertainment and fun. But after a long while, they discovered that this one has gone beyond entertainment too. And they got tired. So this man told him, unless you have seen something about Jesus, it will be difficult for you to love. It will be difficult for you to make sacrifice. That the reason why this dog was willing to continue with the chase, even when every other dog has stopped, is simply because this dog has seen a rabbit. Now, I found this story very important to understand the message of the gospel today. This evening, Jesus is telling us, if you want to follow me, look at the cost of discipleship. You will renounce your mother, renounce your father, renounce your wife, renounce your children, even renounce your own self to follow me. Let me tell you, it will be impossible for any of you to make this kind of sacrifice unless you are willing to first of all make a value judgment. And to make a value judgment is to tell yourself, is Christianity something good or bad? Is for you to attach significance and meaning to the idea of Christianity. If you don't do it, it will be impossible for you to make any sacrifice. And that is why most times we are fond of criticizing people who have developed deep love and affection for Jesus. We criticize them, and it is easy for us to do it simply because we don't know the value judgment those people have made. Recently, I saw a post on Facebook. Onitsha Archdiocese is building Shanahan University. Now, a priest went there to assess the level of the work, the progress so far. After going there, the priest made a post on Facebook and said, Shanahan University, dream come true. And then went on to beckon on people to help out to actualize the dream. So, people were commenting, asking questions like, would it be affordable for the poor with this, and that? And then one person went there and made a comment I found very interesting. The person asked, why the name Shanahan? I think I will need to read it out because I screenshotted it and brought it. The man asked a question, why? Let me get it. He asked a question and said, why the name Shanahan? Don't we have indigenous persons worthy of such an honor? Why this fixation with honoring European ancestors? What is with this inferiority complex our people wear like a great badge of honor? So this man saw Shanahan as any European ancestor. I can sympathize with the young man if he's coming from the angle of maybe to kicking against Western imperialism. Why everything about West is given prominence or importance and everything about Africa is looked down upon. No problem. However, you cannot just dismiss Shanahan as any European ancestor unless you don't know the history of Catholicism in Nigeria and how early missionaries suffered to bring faith to east of the Niger. We were told that as young men, Shanahan, Father Luz, Father Lejeune, Charles Healy, and many of them, Irish missionaries, young priests, after the ordination, they heard that there was need for mission in Africa. And they got interested. When they indicated interest to go to Africa, people who have gone to Africa called their attention and said, young men, if you want to live long life, don't even think about going to Africa. That Africa is white man's grave. That there are many things that will kill you in Africa. The mosquitoes in Africa, when they bite you, they will cause malaria. And Africa has no good hospital. That time, malaria is more terrible than AIDS or even coronavirus. They told him, Africa has no pipe-borne water. You can die of typhoid and dysentery. Africa has no access road. Africa has nothing that makes for quality living. So if you are going to Africa, you are going to a place where you will have an uncertain future. After telling this young man about the dire prospect of going to Africa, those people thought they were checking out. But to their surprise, they were all the more emboldened that they said, want to come. And they came. True to the prediction, they died in their numbers. In fact, they kept dying to an extent that they started praying to God. They looked up to heaven and said, oh God, accept the sacrifice of our life and grant that upon our bone a great and mighty church should arise. Because they felt maybe if we can't achieve this thing while alive, maybe we achieve it when we are dead. Now, if I to see that young man, the first question I'm going to ask him is this. What is the tomb of Shanahan doing in Holy Basilica? Because if you go to Holy Basilica today, once you enter the Basilica Church, you are going to see 4 graves. You see the grave of Charles Healy. You see the grave of Obiefuna. You see the grave of Ezanya. You see the grave of Bishop Shanahan. And the question is, what is the dead body of an Irish citizen doing in Nigeria? Does it mean Ireland don't have a land to bury their dead? Why did they bring him to Nigeria? The simple answer is this, that Nigeria was the place where Shanahan spent his life, gave his life to bring the light of the gospel to us. So when you understand this perspective, then you cannot just dismiss him as any European ancestor. It's like going to Calabar and going to Mary Slesor's house. And then you say, why Mary Slesor? You can say, why Mary Slesor? But imagine you were born maybe in the era pre-colonial Africa, when twins were considered as taboo. You won't be alive talking about why Mary Slessor. Because it was through this woman's activism and passion that she helped to bring to an end the killing of twins. If you want to understand the trauma and the heartbreak a lot of women who gave birth to twins passed through, go and read Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart. When you read it, a particular woman named the Neck, she gave the first issue twins. They were taken to the Evo forest and killed. The second issue, twins, they were taken to the Evo forest and killed. The third issue, twins, they were taken to the Evo forest and killed. This woman was devastated. She was shattered. The moment she heard that Christians have visited Umuofia, she just ran to them. So for such a woman, if she gives birth again and she's allowed to keep her baby, and tomorrow you turn to her and tell her, why are you being devoted to Christ? She will not understand you. That is why, for you to understand the command Jesus is giving us today, the first thing you need to do is to make value judgment. Once you make value judgment, by asking yourself, is Christianity something good or bad? Is following Jesus something good or bad? Once you're able to make that value judgment, it becomes easy for you. Have you ever bothered to ask yourself, why is it that suicide bombers are not in short supply? Why is that every now and then we hear of people who we wear suicide bomb, go to a public place, detonate the bomb, killing themselves and everybody around? There was a time I got interested in this kind of psychology. I started reading about it, and I discovered that a certain religion held the view that if you kill an infidel, that you are doing the work of God, and that when you die and you go to the other side, you'll be given 7 virgins to enjoy for the whole eternity. Now, this is what motivates this person. As a Christian, Jesus has also promised us heaven. Yeah. St. Paul said that no eyes has seen, no ear has heard, no heart has conceived what God prepared for those who love him. Now my question is, are you willing to go extra mile? Are you willing to show absolute loyalty to Jesus because you believe that this reward awaits you? If a terrorist, if a suicide bomber is willing to put his life on the line because he believes that by so doing, there is something that awaits him, then you begin to ask yourself, how strong is my loyalty to Christ? I remember the story of Napoleon, not Alexander the Great. During his war days, Alexander the Great did something that surprised the world. Alexander, as we know, conquered many territories and annexed them to his empire. In one of his war missions, he came to a certain city that he intended to conquer, called his soldier and told his soldier, go and tell the king of that city that I'm ready to take his city. You should surrender. When the soldier told the king just laughed and told the soldier, go and tell your emperor that we are ready to meet him at the war front. The moment Alexander heard this, Alexander did something that horrified and scared the life out of the life of the king. What did he do? He summoned his soldiers, marched them to a cliff. A cliff is like the edge of a mountain, very tall cliff, and then commanded them to fall to their death. More than 100 soldiers fell to their death. That is, before he could finish giving instruction, the soldiers were already falling to their death. The citizens of that city and the king were horrified by this kind of royalty. And the king called his soldiers and said that this man has one of the most royal soldiers in the world. That any commander whose soldiers are willing to obey, even to the point of putting their life on the line, that there's no war that commander cannot win. There is no war that commander cannot win. the king and his people surrendered and said, there is no need. That we can't match these people because of their royalty. Can your royalty to Jesus be so strong for you to disregard mother, father, son, even your own life? Because that is when we begin to understand what it means, the cost of the discipleship. Unless we make value judgments, we can never make any single sacrifice. And that is why you don't just sit down and begin to make light of people's experiences, because you don't know where they are coming from. That is why they are making that sacrifice. Take, for instance, the woman who broke the alabaster jar and the costly ointment filled the whole room with powerful fragrance. And then Judas was somewhere complaining and say, why waste such a costly ointment? Why not sell it and give the money to the poor? We knew the response Jesus gave to Judas. But that's not where I'm coming from. The question should have been, what is it that inspired this woman to waste this costly ointment? Tradition told us that that woman was a woman caught in adultery who was brought before Jesus. The moment she was brought before Jesus, what was facing this woman was instant death. The Jewish people that brought her said that the law of Moses commanded us to stone such a woman to death. Master, what have you to say? The moment they told Jesus, what have you to say? That woman knew that her faith was hanging on a balance. All that was needed for Jesus, all that was there was for Jesus to say, do to her according to the law. That would have been the end. But to her surprise, Jesus said, if any of you is without sin, be the first to stone this woman. We were told that none of them left. When they left, Jesus uttered one of the most compassionate statements in the world. He told the woman, neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more. That encounter changed the life of that woman forever. It was an encounter that marked a turning point in her life. That was why she was willing to spend that costly ointment. That was why she was willing to go extra mile to appreciate Jesus. If you don't have any value judgment, trust me, there is no sacrifice you can make. It's not possible. It's not possible. I have not forgotten the story of a woman and her husband. They just finished their supper and was relaxing. All of a sudden, they were invaded by robbers. The robbers stole everything, looted everything, and then before they left, it was as if the devil entered one of them. And then one of them wanted to rape the woman. He started making his way towards the wife. The man stood up and charged towards the robber and told the robber, if you dare touch my wife, we die here. The robber thought the man was bluffing. The robber cocked his gun and told the man, give way. The man said, lie over my dead body. You will rather kill me first before you touch my wife. They hit the man with the butt of the gun, did everything. At a point, the wife knelt down, started pleading with the husband. Please, allow them to do what they want to do. I don't want to lose you. The husband was like, don't even go there. Don't even go there. Let them kill me first before they touch you. As providence will have it, the robbers left without incident. The woman was not raped. However, after the robbers left, that woman became a shadow of her former self. She became a different person altogether. She will not eat. She will not laugh. She was just moody throughout. The husband thought it was maybe the trauma from the robbery incident or the attempted murder or whatever, and maybe believing that before long everything will peter out. But after 1 week, 1 month, 2 months, the wife was not yet her normal self. The husband felt that something more tragic than trauma was at play in the life of the wife. So one night, he summoned the wife, sat her down, and said, what is the problem? And ever since the robbery incident, you have been acting strangely. What is the problem? The wife started crying. I'm asking the husband, please forgive me. Please forgive me. And the husband was like, forgive you? What did you do? I'm confused. Why forgive you? What did you do? And the wife said that that ever since they got married, she has never valued their marital fidelity. That she has been going out, sleeping with men. But right before her husband was willing to give his life to protect their marital fidelity and chastity. The husband was willing to give his life to protect something that the wife has been treating as if it is nothing. That gesture alone so influenced the woman. It was after that experience, she never left her marriage to meet any man outside. You now see why value judgment is such a condition for you to understand what Jesus is telling us today. If you don't have any kind of experience, what Jesus is telling us today will be difficult for you. Imagine telling you to leave your mother, leave your father, even your own life. It is not, that sacrifice will be impossible for you to make. But when you make a value judgment, it becomes something of value, something that is dear to you. We should place premium on our identity as Christians. We should understand Christianity as something, I think it was Pope Benedict XVI that said that Christianity does not subsist in adhering to abstract principles and concepts, maybe doctrines, dogma, and name them. No, that Christianity also consists in an encounter with a person, an encounter that gives life a new orientation and a new perspective, an encounter that changes the way you do things. I remember the story of a man who was used to drinking, womanizing, doing all sorts of abominable things. He has a group, gang members, with whom he indulged in such things. They go out to beer parlor, they indulge in morbid jokes and name them. And then one day, his gang members were no longer seeing him. And they kept wondering, what has become of this man? How come nobody sees him anymore? And then one day, they saw this man carrying a Bible and moving like a new saint in the town. And they were like, guy, what is new? This one you're carrying Bible, do you want to rob the church? And the young man was like, that he has repented, he's now born again. He said, you has repented. Hey. Oh, no problem, let's be watching. The young man left them and went on his way. After a couple of times, they could no longer bear it. They summoned him again and said, you say you have repented. Okay, no problem. So you now know Jesus. The man said, yes, no problem. We have a question for you. This Jesus you are claiming to know, tell us the town where he was born. The man said, the town Jesus was born. That he has never heard that Jesus was born in any town, or he doesn't know that one. They say, wait, you don't know ordinary Bethlehem that catechizing children answer without even giving a thought. They said, okay, let us ask you the simplest question that even broke-eyed children can answer. Can you tell us the name of the mother and father of Jesus Christ? The man said he doesn't know. Those people were disappointed. They told him, go and throw this Bible away. Stop deceiving yourself. You're not a Christian. The man turned to them and said, I don't know where Jesus was born. I don't even know the name of the mother or the father. But one thing I'm sure is that since I met this man, since I started following this man called Jesus, I used to stay. I no longer do them anymore. I used to womanize. I no longer do them anymore. I used to cheat people. I no longer do them anymore. That is the value this man is placing on his Christian identity. We need to get it right. You can pay the cost of discipleship with any currency. It's not one currency. Bishop Shanahan paid his own by leaving Ireland and coming to Nigeria to die to bring faith to us. You can pay your own by saying, I'm a married woman, I can never, as a Christian, contemplate leaving my husband to meet any man out there. That could be your own way of paying the cost of discipleship. You can tell yourself, as a Christian, I can never cheat my customers in my business. That could be your own way of paying your discipleship. But for you to be able to pay this, you must make value judgment. If you don't do it, forget it. For you to be able to pay, you must make value judgment. To know that this thing is worth doing. So we need to get it right from where Jesus is coming today. So you begin now to ask yourself, what is the name of St. Anthony doing in Mpo? A man born in Padua, who is not even a Nigerian, a European. What is because of the value this man placed on the call Jesus gave, on the sermon Jesus gave. And that was what changed everything about him. We will continue to find this call difficult. We will continue to find it very hard to answer unless we make a valid judgment. Because our people used to say, na okoko adabo safe and ankete. Awo adabo safe and ankete. And if okoko miri chuba the amba. So it is something that is important to you, that you are going to contend with elements, contend with name it, just to get at it. And when we understand it, we will no longer be quick to begin to condemn people and begin to say, why is this person doing this? Why is this person doing that? I remember the story a priest narrated about a man who came for a thanksgiving that almost shook the parish to the foundation. The day of the thanksgiving, a priest friend was around, and then this man came for thanksgiving with over 20 cows and assorted things he bought. And the priest friend was asking the parish priest, hey, this man is very generous. Imagine the kind of thing he came with for thanksgiving. The parish priest turned to the man and said, you see this man, forget him. This man, with all the money in his possession, hardly gives anything in support of the church. And the priest was like, but look at the kind of thanksgiving, look at the things he came with. The priest told him, wait, that this man about 2 months ago or so had a very terrible accident that left him in coma for 2 months. For 2 months he was in coma, and for that 2 months he was in coma. He knew nothing about his business. He knew nothing about all his achievements in this world. So when he came back to life, he felt only God could have done this. That it was almost, he has lost everything. That experience alone changed everything about this man's life. That experience alone. And that was why he came with items that worth millions. There is an experience you are going to have. It will make you to place so much value on your Christian faith. I'm telling you. I think I have once shared with you the story of John Newton. John Newton was a slave merchant. During the era of transatlantic slavery, he comes to Africa to buy our brothers and sisters as slaves and then go to the New World to sell them. Every now and then he comes and goes. Until one day he came again as usual. Paid for the slaves, loaded them in his ship, and took off to the New World. At the middle of the sea, a terrible storm began to wage, and the current was against his ship. It was such a fierce storm that this man became afraid. The storm was gathering momentum. After a while, the storm destroyed the mast that helps ship to maintain stability while cruising atop a sea. Before long, the ship lost its compass. The man does not know whether he was traveling this nautical mile or this other, whether south or east or west or not. He doesn't know where he was traveling again. And then this man said, this is the end of the road for me. This is the end of the road. In fact, I deserve to die because I never regarded a human being as anything. But God wanted to teach him a lesson. And the lesson was that this man found himself ashore, marched on the hard ground, and discovered that he was safe. He could not believe what happened. He became too emotional. Opened the ship. All the slaves he acquired, he set them free, not counting the money, not mind everything. This is the cost of discipleship. Something has changed his perspective and value. He let them free. And then this man wrote something down that explained his experience that day. When what he wrote down was brought up, it was one of the most beautiful poetries ever penned. And what was that? Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. It was this experience that helped him to place value on his Christian faith. We were told that that man left that work as a slave merchant and became a pastor. So that he became a pastor, that he presided over one of the most fulfilling ministries in the world. It was an experience that changed everything. Pray for that experience. Because there's an experience you will have, no sacrifice will be too much. I think it was Robert Greene, the author of 48 Laws of Power, who said, it is only what is seen, loved, and appreciated that can be valued. What is seen, loved, and appreciated. If you don't see, that was why the story I began with, the story of that dog that saw the cat, explained everything. Because the dog saw the cat, the dog was willing to sustain the chase. But other dogs came as if they came for entertainment. And when they felt, they left. Unless there is something you have seen in Christianity that is sustaining your faith, that is motivating you, the call by Jesus for you to leave your mother, father, son, even your own self to follow him will not make meaning to you. You now see why value judgment is important. Peace be with you.